If you're new here, my name is Erin Peralta. I'm the founder of Elevations Coaching and the creator of the Elevated Reclaim Method. And before we talk about relationships, healing, rebuilding, or any of the things you'll hear me talk about on this channel, I want to tell you a little bit about who I am and why this work matters so much to me. For nearly 20 years, I was married. Like a lot of women, I built my life around my family. I was raising kids, running my 2 companies, showing up for everyone around me, and doing what needed to be done. For a long time, that was my focus. Then life changed. My marriage ended. At the same time, I was fighting battles of my own. I found myself fighting for my life, literally. I had gone through rehab. I was trying to put pieces of my life back together while watching other pieces completely fall apart. And if you've ever been through a season where everything feels uncertain, you know exactly what I'm talking about. People tell you that you'll get through it. They tell you that time heals. They tell you to stay strong or just get over it. What they don't tell you is how disorienting it can feel when the life you thought you were building no longer exists. Nobody really talks about that part. The part where you wake up and realize you don't know what comes next. The part where you're trying to make decisions while you're grieving. The part while you're trying to be strong for everyone else while quietly wondering who's going to take care of you. And the part where you're looking at your life and asking yourself questions you never thought you'd have to ask. Like, who am I? What do I want? What matters to me? Why am I here? What kind of life am I going to create? And honestly, those questions were harder than I expected. Not because I didn't know how to survive. I knew how to survive. What I didn't know was how to rebuild. There's a big difference. And survival is about getting through every day. Rebuilding is about creating a future. And those are not the same thing. So I started paying attention. I started looking at my life differently. I started looking at the choices I had made, the patterns I had created and repeated, the things I had tolerated, the ways I had shown up in relationships, the habits I had developed over the years, the beliefs I had had about myself and others. And the more I looked, the more I realized something. A lot of the struggles I was having weren't random. They were patterns underneath them. And the patterns I had never really stopped and examined them. Patterns that had been influencing my relationships, my decisions, and the way I saw myself for years. At the same time, I started reconnecting with parts of myself I had lost touch with. I found my way back to horses, back to the land, and back to a life that felt grounded and authentic. Not because horses magically fix everything. They don't. But they reminded me of who I was before life got complicated. They reminded me that there were still pieces of me that had never disappeared. They had just been buried under responsibilities, expectations, and survival mode. And that realization changed something for me because I started seeing the same thing in other women. Women who were capable, intelligent, strong, and successful. Women who had survived difficult relationships. Women who had rebuilt after divorce and who had spent years taking care of everyone else. And so many of them were asking the same questions. Why do I keep repeating these same patterns? Why do I struggle to trust myself? Why do I keep ending up in the same types of relationships? Why does healthy love feel uncomfortable? Why do I disconnect from myself? Why do I feel stuck? The more conversations I had, the more obvious it became. The issue wasn't a lack of intelligence or a lack of desire. These women weren't broken. They were carrying things they didn't understand. Old beliefs, old conditioning, old wounds, and old patterns. Things that once served a purpose but no longer fit the life they were trying to rebuild. That realization eventually became the foundation for the work I do today. I became a certified coach, an emotion code practitioner, and I spent years learning everything I could about emotional healing, identity, self-trust, and relationship patterns, and personal transformation. Not just from books and certifications, from life, from my own experiences, from the experiences of women I was working with. And what I discovered is that healing isn't about becoming someone else. It's about understanding yourself more deeply. It's about recognizing what belongs in your life and what doesn't. It's about identifying the patterns that keep showing up and learning how to change them. It's about rebuilding trust with yourself. It's about creating relationships that feel healthy instead of familiar. It's about learning how to move forward without abandoning who you are. That's the work, and that's what you'll find here. Real conversations about rebuilding after divorce. Real conversations about identity. And about relationships, emotional healing, boundaries, self-trust, and the patterns that shape our lives. Not from a place of perfection, not from a place of having all the answers, from a place of lived experience. Because I've been through it. And if you're here, there's a good chance you're navigating some versions of this too. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm Erin,